All right, you can say what you want. You can say it's no big deal. You can read into it. You can honestly do what you want. But the Lions just made a crazy move. To me, it doesn't make sense. And I'm going to read an article to you to an extent that says this is a standard move. I don't buy it. I don't think it's a standard move at all. And it just tells me that the Detroit Lions are very high on a player. So without further ado, let's get into this. The Detroit Lions add quarterback Hendon Hooker to the active roster and waive kicker Riley Patterson to make room. So there's no really corresponding thing here. Usually if you had a quarterback, you take someone off the offense. Like, I get it. Like, sometimes move can be kind of weird. But they let Riley Patterson go. Now, remember, we traded a conditional draft pick to get Riley Patterson, a 7th-round pick, I believe, to the Jags. This was a year after we cut Riley Patterson and in favor of another kicker who ended up being Michael Badgley. And now Michael Badgley all of a sudden was activated to the roster this past week in the game against the Broncos, and he ended up kicking just fine, making all of his extra points, something Patterson had failed to do. So now they've said, you know what, we're good. We're done with Riley Patterson. So I'm going to talk about the kickers later, but right now I want to talk about the quarterback. And there's an article here. This is Sideline Report, and it says the time has come to put rookie quarterback Hendon Hooker on the 53-man roster. We saw earlier that Dan Campbell said in a quote that he wanted to get Hendon Hooker on the active roster. All right, so it's time where his 21-day window is coming to a close. They clearly want to continue to work with him as a quarterback. They must see some serious talent because they want to keep him on the roster. I don't know. It's not like we're playing a bunch of mobile quarterbacks coming down the line, but maybe they're thinking about it for the quarterback. Hendon Hooker maybe is a better practice squad team. He played Justin Fields a couple weeks ago and things like that. But here's what this article says. Hooker's still not going to play this season unless Jared Goff and Teddy Bridgewater both go down with major injuries. He will continue to be inactive on game days, barring something unforeseen. He'll probably honestly be that emergency third quarterback. But the Lions coaches can continue to work with him in practice for the rest of the season, as they have been the last 3 weeks. Then come training camp and summer, they'll be ready to go. So here's the thing. Here's why I think this is a crazy move, and this is why I think it's different than what everybody else is partaking it or foreseeing it to be. We just talked. I just did a video. Like, I released it like an hour before this one's going out, and then I came and I got on Twitter and I saw this news. But I just released a video talking about how this Lions team success goes with if Frank Ragnow is in, and more importantly, if all 5 offensive linemen are in the game. Because the offensive line is what dictates if Jared Goff is a good quarterback. So we've often said that Jared Goff is elite when he has time. And I'm going to add, and he's indoors. I'm going to add it. So he's elite when he has time and he's playing indoors. But if he's playing in the elements or doesn't have time, and oh my goodness, if both end up happening, like against the Chicago Bears, it gets real nasty real fast. But if he doesn't have that, he is average to bad. So if you take away a good offensive line, he's an average quarterback. I really do believe that. He's not bad, he's average. 15 to 20 in the league. If you put him in bad elements, he's an average quarterback. If you put him in bad elements with a poor offensive line, he's one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league. However, if you put him indoors with a good offensive line, he's one of the best starting quarterbacks in the league, and he showed that. So here's the question. Do the Lions believe Hendon Hooker can be better than Jared Goff? Are they trying to keep him here because there's going to be a little bit of It could be for one of two reasons. Either they want to see if he's good enough to be the straight up backup quarterback next year, and they don't have to bring Teddy Bridgewater back. They don't have to go get another backup quarterback. They don't have to try and trade for Zach Wilson. They don't have to, go and there's a lot of backup quarterbacks in the NFL, right? So they're trying to decide, are they trying to decide that? Or, and this is personally what I believe, are they trying to see if Hendon Hooker is going to be the quarterback of the future? And I'm not saying he's going to be the starting quarterback next year, especially to start the year. Okay, but are they trying to see if he has the ability to be the starting quarterback of the future? And they're trying to make a decision faster on whether or not they want to extend Jared Goff this offseason. Because if Hendon Hooker balls out in practice and he shows that he has the ability, even has glimpses of that elite pocket presence, but also has the ability, because while Jared Goff is very bad when he doesn't have a good line, Hendon Hooker has the ability to still be good because of his mobility. And if he shows that he can do that he doesn't panic with that pressure and things like that, I don't think you see an extension for Jared Goff in the offseason. And he has to prove his worth and staying here, and he has to prove next year that he's considerably better than Hooker. That's just what I believe to be true. And so, we've seen it before. The San Francisco 49ers were doing fine with Jimmy Garoppolo. They were a competitive team, and they drafted Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance ended up being bad at football, but they got Brock Purdy. So now Brock Purdy is their quarterback of the future, right? We've seen teams that are like, yes, we have good quarterback play, but we think we have the ability to be better, and we don't want to pay $40 million for an average quarterback. So that's why I think this is a crazy move that points to the future. Now, when it comes to the kicker, don't turn this video off, all right? Kickers are people too, all right? When it comes to the kicking situation that we have going on, Riley Patterson, this is the one area where Brad Holmes needs to go outside of himself and be like, I need to figure out how to find a kicker, right? Because that's the one area that this team has missed. And the whole point of Riley Patterson and what he did for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year was he did not miss from inside 50 yards. He was one of the most consistent kickers in the NFL inside 50 yards. We knew he could not kick beyond 50 yards very well. We just knew it. That's what we did. But recently, in each of the last two games, he's missed an extra point. All right, so he started, and one of them was a bad snap. I do want to be clear. It was a botch kind of snap hold situation, and he missed the kick. But then he missed another one. If you're not going to be able to kick the ball over 50 yards, you better be 100% from inside of it and on extra points if you want to keep your job in the NFL. So Badgley has a little bit better leg. He might be a little more erratic, but he did a good job kicking for us last year. And I think the coaching staff just simply felt more comfortable with Badgley coming back than Patterson. Do I love the move? No. Is Badgley going to end up having to be on the active roster eventually? Yes. So you're going to end up having to drop someone anyway. I just hope we don't find ourselves in a position again where maybe Badgley gets hurt and then all of a sudden, who's our kicker? But the whole Riley Patterson thing, to cut him and then spend a 7th-round pick on him and then lose it, that's a little bit of a mistake. But it's small. It's a small mistake. But I am one who really does firmly believe that kickers are important, and punters. So the Lions also have multiple moves coming up. CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be coming back in the next couple weeks, most likely, and have to get a spot on the active roster. Jason Kabinda is going to be coming back in the next couple weeks, most likely, to get a spot on the active roster, unless they want to keep putting Laporta and Rodrigo in at fullback. So those are things, and who is it going to be that's going to make room for them? Same with James Houston. Same with Aleem McNeil. This is a good problem to have. These are the kind of problems that good teams have. But I really do think that the Hendon Hooker story there's more that meets the eye. We can read into this. Dan Campbell flat out said we want to get him on the active roster. He knows there's talent there. He doesn't say that if he doesn't know there's talent there. Keep your eyes peeled. It's not this year. I'm not even necessarily saying it's next year. But that dude just may. And I'm not dogging Goff here, but that guy just might be the quarterback of the future for the Detroit Lions. Let's see. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Leave your comment. Do you think it's possible? See ya.